Dandavats. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Welcome to everyone joining online and present here. Hare Krishna. Today we're going to talk about something important, an important topic that's come up recently. So that's the question of how we can truly advance in our spiritual life and get to the ultimate goal of life, Krishna Prem. On one hand, we require essential guidance from Guru. We have to take shelter of a genuine Guru. It's the first stage in spiritual life. But it also requires our own effort. We know that. We need Krishna's mercy and Guru's mercy in our life, but also if we don't practice in our own lives, sadhana ourselves, then we're not going to achieve ultimate success. These are the two fingers that when Mother Yashoda was trying to bind Krishna, she was always 2 fingers short. One is representing mercy, but mercy comes after effort. Initial mercy comes from Krishna in the form of Guru. And that's after deep prayer. And when you deeply, earnestly pray to God for help, for a guide, then He will shine the light of knowledge to you through the medium of Guru. But then afterwards, to get Krishna's mercy, to go to His Dham or to get Guru's mercy requires your own practice. One of the important examples given in Shastra about this is the case of Bilvamangala Thakur. Bilvamangala Thakur was, you could say, he was like an ordinary Brahmin, or he was an ordinary man living in South India. He wasn't a pure devotee. And this story of Bilvamangala Thakur is very instructive for us. Vaishnav says that generally when we hear the stories of our acharyas, they are nityasiddhas, they are eternally pure. We hear most stories of our acharyas, they are eternally pure. But they say Bilvamangala Thakur is an example of someone who is a sadhaka. Not also like a strong sadhaka. In the beginning he was very attached to a prostitute. He wasn't attached to Krishna. So if we look at the example of, I was talking today with Prabhuji about Bilvamangala Thakur in regards to some events. And we're talking about the story of Bilvamangala Thakur. It's very important. And some people who are watching maybe haven't heard the story of Bilvamangala. So it's a very nice story. It also shows that desire isn't a bad thing, we just need to learn how to properly engage it. Bilvamangala Thakur was very lusty after this one lady. He was completely attached to her. And so this story is very relevant in regard to that also. Showing that we shouldn't think, now I have some desires, that desire is bad. What it means is that we need to learn how to properly engage desire in a proper pursuit. Desire means some kind of energy that you have. So the question is, how are you going to direct it? And if you have no energy, no calm, or no desire, or no passion, then you can't do anything. So that's why Guru and Vaishnava say, actually, it's a very good thing. But we just need to learn how to properly offer it. That's why when we get mantras from Guru, he gives us what's called the Kam Gayatri. Kam means passion or lust, desire. And he teaches us how to offer that to Krishna and then engage it in Krishna Seva Vasana. The desire to perform prem seva to Krishna, loving service, that's the perfect form of transcendental Kam. Kam is actually like rati. Rati means attraction to something. And that's one form of Kam. And according to our rasa, or our relationship with Krishna, whether in the form of a parent or a friend or a beloved, then our natural innate tendency to desire and to have relationship will find its place or its fulfillment. But then in Bilvamangala Thakur's life, so we'll just tell a brief story of his life for the people who haven't heard it. I think some of the devotees who are, or some of the people who are watching haven't heard. He was an ordinary man. And he was very attached to one lady who was a prostitute, very famous. And so whenever he would get a chance, he would go to see her. Any chance. Whenever he would collect a bit of money, he would always save up some money and go and visit her. In those times, prostitute wasn't like we think now. She was like nicely singing and dancing, you know, like a courtesan. It's not so much described how much, you know, she was doing, but whenever he would get a chance, he would go. And he became so addicted to that association that it said when his father died, in the middle of the ceremony for his father's shad, which means some days after your father dies or mother, you perform a ceremony and a yagya. He left the middle of the yagya, and he's the only son. It's his job to do all the ceremony. And all the priests were there, all the family was there, but he was so attached to this prostitute that he left everything. And at that time, it was a stormy weather. It was in the middle of a big storm. And so it said that, what did he do? It was evening. It was becoming evening time, like dusk. So he tried to cross the river, but it was already dark from the storm. And so he started swimming, but it was getting too rough, the water. So he caught onto something that he thought was like a log of wood. Anyhow, he crossed the river. Then when he came to the other side, he saw a flash of lightning. And he saw it was just a dead body. So he came across the river, swimming and holding onto this dead body that was floating along. Then from there, he went further to the house of the prostitute. She had a walled house, you know. So he had to climb over the wall. And as he was climbing, he couldn't find something to grip on. So he finally climbed, gripping on something that afterwards, with another flash of lightning, he saw it was just a snake, not a rope. So then he fell down over the wall into the courtyard. And hearing the sound, this lady came and called him into her house. And that time the lady strongly chastised him, said, look, your father just died. And yet you're so attached to me that you've struggled all this way, going across the river holding a dead body, climbing across the wall holding a snake as a rope. If you had even a little bit of the attraction to Krishna that you have for my body, you would get liberated. Even if you just had a little bit of this desire. So she's saying this desire is a good thing. You just need to channel it rightly. It's a force. It's an energy. But if you're using it in a wrong direction, then you're going to commit sinful activities and suffer as the result of your karma. But if you use it in a proper way, then you can get mukti. You can get Krishna, bhakti, prem, everything. So this is what she taught him. She taught him that. That's why when he wrote Krishna Karnamrita later, first he prayed to this Chintamani. He said, you are my first guru. Chintamani Jai Shri Somagiri Gurur Me. In the very first line, first word of his famous writing, Krishna Karnamrita, this book was brought by Mahaprabhu himself from South India. Mahaprabhu preached in South India, and he brought this book, Krishna Karnamrita, which means nectar for Krishna's ears. He wrote this, and he wasn't like a Nityasiddha, but he wrote this for Krishna, and Krishna was so pleased that it said Krishna himself would write these verses. So how did he get to that stage where Krishna was so dear to him, like we talked about yesterday? What is real darshan? So real darshan means Krishna himself comes to us. And we see that in Bilvamangala Thakur's life. Real darshan is not just us thinking of Krishna. Krishna is coming to us by our attraction to him. Krishna Akarshani. We are able to attract Krishna with our love. And by our attraction for him, he is attracted to us like a magnet. And then we can come together in bhakti yoga. Yoga means connection. So Bilvamangala Thakur, after Chintamani abused him like this, she said, look, because she was also always singing verses of like Gita Govinda and things glorifying Krishna. So it gradually had given some impression in his heart. And at that time she said like that. And already it was his culture, you know. They're in a Vedic culture. So she told him this, and then at that time he decided to renounce everything. It was like a shock in his life. But the Vaishnavas say, if you have no desire, then you cannot achieve anything great. It's good that you have calm, good that you have desire, but you should learn how to subliminate that or offer it up. The sages, they become Urdhvareta. They'll put all their energies to their higher chakras and finally to God himself. And then they can get salvation. So first Bilvamangala Thakur accepted Chintamani as his guru. So the question is, was she like a big guru? People think, oh, ladies cannot be guru. But he says, my first guru is Chintamani. She is my first guru. Was she a big Maharaj, a big sannyasi? No, she was a prostitute. But she was his guru. And he honored her in his greatest work. He wasn't like thinking, oh, if I say Chintamani in the beginning, everyone's going to know I was attached to a prostitute. We see this is one good quality of a Vaishnava also. They are not concerned about their own name and fame. He's openly showing, my Gurudev is Chintamani, and she was a courtesan, a prostitute, but she is my Guru. He's not thinking, I am a guy, how can I honor a lady? She is my first Guru. Then what did he do? After she told him that you should do bhajan of Krishna, he left everything. He never went home. He left everything. He thought, now I'll go to Vrindavan. On the way, he came to an ashram of Somagiri. Somagiri was a Mayavadi Guru. He wasn't a Krishna's pure devotee. He wasn't a bhakta. He was an impersonalist. He said, Sarva kalam idam brahma. Everything is God. I am God. You are God. Everything is God. And he got mantra initiation from him. From Chintamani, he awakened his spiritual journey. He awakened into his spiritual journey. Before that, he wasn't thinking. He was just living, doing his duty as much as he had to maintain his family. He had a wife, he had a family, but he left everything because of his attachment to her. This rati was there, and that rati is a good thing. So he left everything for her, and then from her powerful awakening, then he decided to go only for Krishna. And he left everything, but she didn't give him mantra at that time. She gave him this awakening. Then he went to Somagiri, who became his Diksha Guru. He gave him the mantras. But that Somagiri was not a Vaishnava. He was a Mayavadi. It's said by Vaishnavas that he was like a Mayavadi. And so he stayed in his ashram for some time, and he heard everything from him. And then he still had this burning desire to go to Vrindavan. So he said, I'll go to Vrindavan. And the Guru said, better you should wait and become more mature. But anyhow, he said, I'm going to go to Vrindavan. So Bilvamangala left that ashram, and as he was going further towards Vrindavan, said that somewhere you have to stop and get some water or beg some bhiksha, alms. So one day when he was going to a well to get some water, he saw a very beautiful lady bringing water up from the well. Very beautiful. And so seeing her, again, he became infatuated, like he was before with Chintamani. And she walked home, and he followed at a short distance back to her house. And then he knocked on the door. And she came to the door and said, what would you like? He said, her husband came. He said, oh, I want to see your wife. And his husband was very simple-hearted, so he called his wife, and she came out to the door with her husband, and he said, please, I'm begging something from you. And they think, okay, he was at that time dressed like a Babaji, like a sadhu. So they said, okay, he came, maybe he wants some rice and dal, something to eat. So he said, what do you want? She said, oh, I want your 2 hairpins. So she gave her hairpins, and immediately he plucked out his eyes. He said, immediately he just, and then bleeding, he left that place. You can imagine one day someone, knock, Bhiksham Dehi, and just, he plucked out his eyes. He said, why? I'm trying to go to find Krishna, but my eyes are my enemies. People think that our enemies are outside of us. But our senses are filled with material sense desires. Their nature is that the senses naturally have desire for the objects of their senses. So naturally the eyes are very attracted to beautiful things, the tongue to tasting wonderfully delicious things. So he said, okay, my eyes are disturbing me in my spiritual path. Let me take out my eyes. There's also an example of the determination needed if you want to gain spiritual success. Nowadays, people think spiritual success means I'm very happy and successful in this life, that I'm very wealthy and peaceful and I have lots of nice friends and family, and that's spiritual success. Real spiritual success means you've realized your true nature, you've gone to the transcendental world, and you're present in your real swarup there, your real identity there. So Bilvamangala plucked out his eyes, and then he continued going to Vrindavan. How would he go to Vrindavan now? Blind. But it said, Guru will take away your material senses and then he'll give you transcendental senses. If you're really surrendered, then Krishna will take everything from you and then he'll give everything back. It said when Swami Prabhupada took sannyas, he told Param Gurudev, I don't know if I want to take sannyas, I'm very old now, and how will I go and preach and maintain? He said, no, don't worry, Krishna will provide everything. He said, Swami Prabhupada said, he was afraid of this one verse that Krishna says, Harisye tad dhanam sanai. If someone surrenders to me, I take everything away from him. So he was thinking like that. But he said afterwards, look, Krishna took everything away. I started 2-3 businesses and they all failed. But afterwards, look, I had 1-2 children and 1 wife, and now We said the whole world is part of my family, and everyone is in Krishna's family, Krishna Sangsar. Now we have hundreds and hundreds of temples. So Krishna will take away, but then Krishna will give. So we see Bilvamangala, when he decided, now I'm ready to give up everything, even my own eyes. My eyes are disturbing me. Okay, let me get rid of my eyes. And after that, very shortly after that, when he was going along the path, then Krishna came to him as a beautiful boy. And he said, "Oh Baba, where are you going?" He said, "I'm going to Vrindavan." "Oh, I'm also going to Vrindavan. I'll take you there. You're blind." So he said, baby Gopal then took Bilvamangala's hand and led him to Vrindavan. So see, Krishna gave him darshan after that, after he was willing to sacrifice everything. So that's the question, is like, how much are we willing to sacrifice? Gurudev says like that, if you have material hands, material legs, material eyes, then how are you going to progress in bhakti? Krishna, in the Bhagavatam it said, Atashi Krishna namadi nabhaved grayam indriya sevan mukhi hi jivado swayameva spuratyada. That you cannot chant pure Krishna name with your material senses. Atashi Krishna namadi nabhaved grayam indriya. The senses cannot approach transcendental life. The spiritual world is transcendental. Krishna Nama is transcendental. How will the senses go there? So they have to become spiritualized, transcendentalized through the process of Krishna Seva, Krishna Bhakti. And you have to be ready to give up the mundane to achieve the transcendental. So he was saying, okay, I'll give up everything in my pursuit of Krishna. And that time Krishna came to him. And then Krishna led him to Vrindavan. And then when he arrived in Vrindavan, all along the way, he began to sing the glories of Radha Krishna Lila. So another point Vaishnavas say is that before Bilvamangala didn't have any spurti. Yesterday we were talking about swapna, dream. But Bilvamangala is an example of spurti. Spurti means you see Krishna Lila appear before your eyes, even though you are not directly in the Lila. You are not in Krishna Lila yet, but then Krishna Lila is appearing in your heart and your mind. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri, he would see a hill and say, he would see Giriraj. He would see the ocean and see Jamuna. And therefore he would leave Gambhira and run into the ocean, seeing that it was Jamuna. And later we hear Swarup Damodar, they found him when he was in the fisherman's net. And when they chanted Sankirtan, Mahaprabhu woke up. And at that time he said, why have you brought me out of Vrindavan? I was with Radha Krishna and the Sakhis performing their seva. So that is a spurti. So Bilvamangala Thakur, when he plucked out his eyes and then he was going along the path, at that time, even before Krishna came, he began to glorify Krishna's pastimes with the gopis. And he began to compose these verses that are in Krishna Karnamrita. Very, very beautiful verses about Krishna's pastimes with the gopis. So when he gave up everything, then he immediately began to realize all these pastimes of Radha Krishna and write them down. And this was attracting Krishna to come to him. And later in Vrindavan, he continued writing these verses. And Krishna said, oh Baba, please continue singing. And he said, don't do anything, you just stay here. I'll bring you milk, I'll bring you butter, nice roti, everything you need. But just stay here and write and sing for me. And he was blind. How was he writing? Prabhuji likes to say that Krishna himself wrote down these verses. So the essence of this story is that Vaishnavas tell, Bilvamangala Thakur, he achieved this through his own sadhana. He is a sadhaka. And he achieved this position through his own endeavor. And we can also get that. Gurudev said that darshan of Krishna is possible in this life. Don't think darshan of Krishna is not possible. You can have darshan of Krishna. But are you willing to do what it takes? There's a verse, Tivrena Bhakti Yogena Yajeta Purusha Param. Purusha Param means the highest attainment for a human being. Purusha Param. Purusha is a person and Param is the topmost. So the topmost attainment for a human being can be achieved by Tivrena Bhakti Yogena. Bhakti Yoga, as we know, Shravanam, Kirtana, Vishnu Smaranam, we know the limbs of devotion. But Tivrena is very important. Tivrena means with intensity, with burning attachment and desire and force and willpower. I will get it, do or die. Bhakti Rakshak Shiramar said we have to be ready to jump into that unknown with faith and intense practice. That's why Mahaprabhu said you should chant 64 rounds of Harinam. Mahaprabhu said, if you don't chant 64 rounds, I will not accept what you offer me. Because you're asat sangha. Even though you're like devotees, you're a bad association. I don't want to take your cooking. I will only eat what you cook if you chant 64 rounds. So people think now it's like, okay, we don't have to do serious sadhana and we can get perfection. But sadhana is very important, and this is shown in the life of Bilvamangala. Who is his guru? His guru was Chintamani and Somagiri. One is a prostitute, the other is a Mayavadi. And yet he had Krishna darshan in the same life. So who is guru? But in his verse, his first verse, he says, Chintamani Jayashri Somagiri Guru me Shiksha Guru Shikipincha Moli. He said, my guru is Krishna, Shikipincha Moli, who has a peacock feather in his turban. He is my real guru. But he first honored, he doesn't say first Krishna. In his verse he says, I offer my pranam to Chintamani. First to that lady. Then to Somagiri, my guru. He also honored his guru. Even though his guru was Mayavadi, he said, he gave me Krishna mantra, he helped me. So he honored him also. Then, Shiksha Guru Tapingshi Moli. Krishna is my Shiksha Guru. So in Guru Tattva is very broad. It's not a narrow thing. And real Guru is Nityananda, real Guru is Baladev, and also real Guru is Krishna. In the Sastra it said, Vande Guru, Vande Jagat Guru Shri Krishna. Krishna is the Guru of everyone and everything. And Krishna expands as Guru in our life. But even though we get a bona fide Guru, we have to do sadhana. We shouldn't think like, oh, I got a good Guru, now I can just relax the rest of my life. I don't need to do any bhakti, no harinam, nothing, and at the end of my life, I will go back to the spiritual world. We have to perform sadhana ourselves in our own life. That means a firm vow that I will do whatever it takes to achieve the goal. This is called Evam Vratas Priyanama Kritya. I take a vrat, a vow, that I will chant the holy names with deep attraction continuously. Mahaprabhu said, Kirtaniya Sadahari. So now people think, is my guru bona fide or not? But who is Bilvamangala Thakur's guru? And still he had Krishna darshan. So we have to pray to Krishna that we may find a genuine guru. And Krishna will appear, and we should pray to Krishna and pray to Guru and try to develop faith in the process. It's said that to the degree of your faith, that quickly you'll progress. But Shraddha, faith is the basic currency in spiritual life. That is your basic currency. And Prabhuji was just saying that you should have faith in anyone who has helped you in your life, in bhakti. Anyone who has helped you. Vartma Pradarsha Guru was like Chintamani. She showed him the path and first honored to her. So anyone who is helping you in bhakti, you should have faith in them. And not everyone, the other day, like a month or two back, Prabhuji was giving class saying, look, nowadays, it's such a big world, millions and billions of people. So not everyone has the opportunity always to get Uttam Mahabhagavat Guru. It's not possible. How many, it's very difficult and rare to find. And people who are very fortunate, they have that chance. They're Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada or Srila Gurudev. But he said some people will get, like he said, everyone wants to marry a Hollywood star, but some people are married to a rickshaw driver. So what are you going to do? Prabhuji said in the morning class, remember? What are you going to do? But if you're sincere in your practice, then in your course of your development, you'll receive the guidance and the help that you need. But the thing is, even you may get a bogus guru, and that person may fall down. And this is also a purifying stage. And then later you'll find a genuine guru. Maybe your guru falls down, and then later you have to continue searching and you find another guru. You shouldn't give up hope. Mahaprabhu says, Tatenu kampam sushamik shamano. That anything that's happening to you is ultimately your karma. So even if you are receiving guidance from someone who is not genuine and you are cheated by them, you should not lose hope in the process. If there's a bogus guru, it means there must be a genuine guru, and you should pray to Bhagavan that you can find them. If you have counterfeit money in the market, it means there must be genuine money, because the counterfeit money exists only on the basis of the genuine currency. So if you've been cheated by a false teacher, then you should not lose hope that there is a real teacher. We are not saying that you should be satisfied with a bogus teacher. In Sastra it says, Guru Ravyaliptasya Karya Karyam Ajanata Utpatta Pratipanasya Parityago Vidyate. You should give up a false guru. if someone does not know what to do, what not to do, is not acting properly in spiritual life, then they should be rejected. Parityago vidiyate. The vidi, the instruction is to give them up. But that does not mean that you should give up faith in the real process of bhakti, or that the process of taking shelter of guru. If there's a bogus guru, there must be a genuine guru. Just like if there's fake money, the only way fake money can exist in the market is that it looks very similar to real money, and so people can be tricked. Externally, they may appear like guru, they may dress like you think a guru should look like, they may walk like you think a guru should walk. That's why Arjuna asked Krishna, Stita pragyasya kabasa samadhi stasya keshava stita diking prabhaseta kingaseta brajeta kim. How does the sadhu walk? How do they sit? How do they talk? How do they behave? Arjuna asked that to Krishna, and Krishna describes for 12, 13 verses in the 12th chapter, he describes the nature of a sadhu. In the 2nd chapter, he describes the nature of a sadhu. We learned all these verses before. So it's very important to find a genuine sadhu. But if we are cheated or tricked, then we should not lose hope in the process, and we can continue searching. But at the same time, we can remember, I was just talking with Prabhuji about this story of Bilvamangala. Remember this story of Bilvamangala, that because of his faith and devotion, and because of his sincere effort, Divrena Bhakti Yogena, because of that, Krishna gave him his darshan. And his guru was that, Chintamani and Somagiri. Okay? Haribo Vancha Kapatru Visakrivasana Vivcha Pitanang Pavani Vaishnava Namo Namaha.